Oh, that's cute. The music didn't render. I was like, "Where the hell did the music go?" Anyways, we'll work on it. Good morning, good evening, afternoon. Welcome, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Just wanted to get on and kind of give an update with this trial that was supposed to start today. It has been a total dumpster fire. I'm joined today by Queen. How you doing, Queen?
Hi everyone.
We've both been independently keeping an eye on it, and yeah, this one, man, they just made a mess. So it was originally supposed to be both Jennifer and James Crumbley. Then it was going to be James Crumbley, and then all of a sudden it becomes Jennifer Crumbley. So we have Jennifer now that is going to trial. And full disclosure on this entire case, this entire deal, um, I don't think that you can be charged for an act that somebody else does. Um, yeah, he had signs. It also came out, I believe it came out this week, if not today. I'd have to look. That the school is not going to be sued or held liable in any way. So you're holding one group liable that had something to do with it, but not the other group that also. I feel like if the parents know that the kid is close to something as tragic and as terrible as this, then the school probably knew too. Realistically, our kids spend half their time at school. So it's hard to believe that they wouldn't have any culpability in it. And that's just my personal. I'll try and keep my personal out of it as much as possible, but I feel like personal sometimes is where it's thrown in. But that's my personal takeaway from this whole situation. So let's say hello to everybody, and we'll get right into it. Queen was first. Dog Mama, hello. Dazza, what's up, mate?
Hey Dazzer.
Neo, same deja vu this morning for some reason.
Hey
Huh?
Neo.
What's up, buddy? Do you have the same strange feeling? That's weird. Huh? What's up, HT? Christine. All right, so that's the crew for now. Rumble. Let's see. Did I bring up Rumble? I did not. Now I do. Uh, so that's kind of the takeaway that we have going on right now. They are going to, from what I was reading, and it's all preliminary and we don't know yet, but it seems like the mom's uh, kind of defense is blaming James or the dad, which I don't know. I think that it's such a tragic situation, and the four young people that lost their lives in Oxford, um, it's horrific, but it continues to tear apart a family and to harm others tangentially. And I, at some point, like we have to stop dragging things so far out and just mourn, heal, and move on from things. And it's it's terrible. But yeah, we'll get into that, Christine, for sure. What happened? Um, do you have any Queen? Do you have any specific feelings or thoughts that you want to say on this
Um,
one?
I am so the mental health. The boy
Mhm,
was not well.
correct.
Parents overlooked it. Um, that's kind of how I feel about it. Maybe they just didn't pay enough attention to him or really hone into it that something was wrong.
Okay.
That's kind of how I feel about it. It all became a mess. It really did. And
Yeah.
it's not, you know, right
Yeah.
now they're being charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter in connection with attack, and that's kind of what they're trying to get them after.
Yeah. And and I think there's a slew of charges that you could have charged and not invoked the same response and maybe not has had as much pushback. But I feel like the
Right.
manslaughter is just I feel like that's a little too much. I really do. But
I think
again,
their defense is that she had the option to take him out of school that day and she did not. I think that's part of it.
gotcha.
She knew something was going on with him that day when they had her called her into the office, and she told them she wanted to keep him in school. Told them she wanted him to stay in school that day, and that's how it went.
Gotcha. I with that, and hindsight's always 20/20, and we always look at things from
Right.
having all the information. I don't think they're and I could be wrong, and I could be proven wrong at trial, and if so, then go for it. But um, I think the thought that your kid was going to go kill 4 people at school, uh, I don't think any parent's going to have that thought.
No.
Um, I think that's kind of a stretch to be like, nah. Well, we thought he was going to do this. Well, then again, you come back on. You have a duty of care to remove him from the situation, even if they don't want to.
Right.
In my opinion, and
Right.
and I think the timing, just the plain timing and optics of exonerating the school this week and sending the parents to trial this week, or at least a parent, I just
Right.
don't think that looks good at all.
Right. I think some of our mess this week could play into Jennifer wanting Ethan to be part of her trial, and at the last minute, the Ethan's lawyers and stuff sent an email saying he was going to waive his privilege.
Hmm.
So I think that could have been some of our holdup too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's complex, and so the one thing this is going to do is it's going to set precedent, at least across Michigan, if not uh, for school shootings. And does that have what kind of chilling effect does that have? Because just in general, when we go too far the other way on anything, it can get messy and out of whack the other way. So how much damage and how much impact do we have the other way from being too heavy-handed because of this, or does it allow people to, I mean, there's a lot that could come from this, both for the safety of kids in schools and in situations, as well as what legally comes out of this. Is this a new method or a new pathway to charging people that are, non-involved accessories, I guess, is the only way I can put it. So, like,
Right. Right. This case
it's
was a little different. They had bought him a gun for a present and they took him to the gun range and all that stuff. It's not like those other cases where a kid's like 5, 6 years old and they found a gun in a cabinet kind of thing.
right, right. And I think we talked about this the other night just briefly. It it's a different world than certainly I grew up in. I'm not that old, 35. Uh, but my parents bought me a gun very young. It's set in a glass case at the end of the hall.
Yeah.
And there,
I started with a Red Ryder BB gun at 8, worked my way all the way up to a 243 by the time I was 14 hunting with dad. But I knew I
yeah,
was taught how to handle guns and what you could and what you shouldn't do and how to clean them and how to take care of them. I
yeah,
mean, of course, I'm Southern and, I was his only child and I was a daughter. So he was teaching me how to protect myself, plus, you know, be careful with them and know how to maintain them.
yeah. Well, and it gets into, so I have a 10-year-old, and he has went through safety training. He
Hmm.
knows how to clean them. He shoots with me, like all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Um, so, I mean, and same thing. They started with BB guns 2, 3 years ago, probably.
Hmm.
But if my philosophy is I'm a gun guy and I have several.
Hmm.
If they're going to be in the house, you're going to respect them and you're going to know what they're capable of and what they do. And
Correct.
and I think that's the other clamp down of it. Well, we can't even have your kid around a gun, or you can't even see a gun or touch a gun. Like, no, I think that's the other extreme where that's not good for anybody either. So,
Right. And then I think there's also that case where you know your child to know whether they like to test you or if they respect what you say. I
mhm,
was the type of child that, they told me no. Most of the time it was no, and I didn't question because that's how we're raised down here.
mhm,
Um, most of us. Anyway, so there are those kids that test parents and do things behind their back. So it's kind of that point where if you know your kid's not gonna respect what you tell them and what you teach them, then maybe you do have to lock them up, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Know
Yeah.
your
And
children.
right.
So,
Know your children, and mine are locked in a case, and keys, blah blah blah. So
right.
it's not like they have access to them or ever would.
I
But it
mean,
is it you
yeah,
know
I was the way I was raised. Dad had it out accessible in case we needed it. Anytime we went on a vacation or a trip, he had it right there in case we, got in a bind or whatever. I knew not to touch it, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
when I was older, he knew that if I needed to touch it, it was because I was the one that could get to it and help save us or whatever situation we were in.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And so I carry a firearm every single day.
mhm.
Always
Me too.
carry concealed. So
Yes.
um I think they're important, and I think they're part of the American fabric and American experience. And yeah,
Yes.
there's always that thing in the back of your head where you're like, yeah, damn, are they going to try and use this to infringe more upon our guns? And
Right.
sometimes,
And I'm a
uh,
single woman, so I'm out alone. So yes.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
they are the great equalizer.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I thought you meant the kids were locked in a case.
No,
Maybe
I don't have
at
children.
times.
So yeah, I don't have children. It's just me. So yeah.
I think he was talking about mine. Sometimes, Desert. Sometimes, if they
Oh, I
give
see
him
what you're saying.
yeah, if they give him another day off school for a light rain, then we might have a problem. But we'll talk about that at a different time.
That'd be a different case we cover, the boy in the box.
um, allegedly. Uh, so we started. We'll get into kind of what's happened with the jury today. We started today at 9 a.m. Um, again, this Oakland County is the county in which it's being held, which is in southeast Michigan. It's north of Detroit. That's where Oxford is. Little bit about Oakland County. Oakland County is very, very affluent. It is very wealthy. If not the wealthiest county in the state of Michigan, it's got to be top three. Oakland's a beautiful county, but it is on that north side of Detroit and gets very rural as you go more north. But yeah, it's the judge in this case is Cheryl Matthews, and for reference, I live south of Oakland County, so um, but yeah, uh, so Miss Crumbley arrived at 9:14 as the news is reporting on it with their attorneys, that kind of stuff. Placed under oath, of course, blah blah blah. The Judge Matthews uh, said 4 victims of the shooting case to be in the courtroom, along with 8 chosen members of the media. It's an open courtroom, public courtroom, but I don't know. It seems like they restricted it at some point, but so they brought in 50, put 18 in the box, and the rest were in open court or in the gallery. Uh, it seems from just doing this and looking into other ones, and of course not an attorney, but I've seen enough of these and read about them and that kind of stuff. Uh, it seems like there's an issue trying to get people in or people that are qualified. It started with 325 this morning, so
Or know nothing about the case would be the other thing.
that's true. So Oakland County, like I said, I'm a county away. Uh, everybody and their brother knows about this case and knows intimately and knows everything and knows Jennifer and James Crumbley's name and might have some association to them. This one is going to be really, really tough. There was a motion to change of jurisdiction that was denied. I think that was probably a bad call. It is going to be, especially in even in Wayne, Washtenaw, Lenawee, Macomb counties, all of southeastern Michigan, uh, there's going to be a tough time finding somebody that doesn't have intimate knowledge of this case. So, uh,
Yeah.
but from what everything that I read, it seemed like they've been having quite a challenge. And we haven't seated a single juror yet, to my knowledge. It's a little shaky on that, but they have closed court for the day. They reconvene tomorrow, and to my knowledge, we haven't seated a single juror. So, um, blah blah blah. And then just kind of reading through what they said, she is wearing street clothes, a blue dress, I believe, for what it's worth. Uh, no cameras allowed in the courtroom, of course. And it appears that we didn't even get started until about 11:30. The prosecutors came into the room 11:25-ish, and that's when they started actually doing something, it seems, for the most part. Uh, just reading quickly. Some jurors have been eliminated from the pool based on their answers to an initial questionnaire at 11:35. Judge Matthews takes the bench at 11:41. 11:46, they excused 6 more and cycled about 50 more through. So that would be a lot. A lot of jurors, but, again, everybody's gonna know about it. Uh, so then they went into a little bit of why this is presidential and why it's unique and that kind of stuff in the courtroom. Uh, then at 12:11 PM, they brought in another group of jurors. Uh, Judge and the prosecutors and everybody left. And then about 10 minutes later, the group of potential jurors, for what it's worth, 21 women, 22 men. Scanning through. So this I found interesting and kind of indicative of how I feel these proceedings have gone in a nutshell. Judge Matthews told the potential jurors that they aren't looking for people who have not heard about the shooting because everyone has. She said they're instructed to look at real evidence that's presented during the case. So, also there was an order for lawyers not to use uh, his name, the Crumbley name. I think his name's Ethan.
Ethan's the son. Yes.
Yeah, Ethan. So 12:36, they talked about sequestering. I don't think they've ruled on that yet, but uh, said there'd be harsh penalties for violating the instructions for no news or social media. Yeah, that doesn't matter. There's a lot of stuff in this article that's just nothing. 12:49 PM on Tuesday, the charges are Crumbley caused the deaths of 4 students. Jennifer Crumbley caused the deaths of 4 students who were killed by their son by allowing access to a firearm. She is accused of failing to perform reasonable care to prevent her son from harming others. That's from the judge. 12:50, they took a lunch break. So they resumed at 1:50. So of course they came back at 2:08. So again, she admonished people and said that name of the shooter would not be spoken in the courtroom. It went through about 80 witnesses that they were asking if they had any knowledge or interaction with. But again, she did not read Ethan's name, but he was on the list. That would be interesting. Like if he actually shows up, and I know that his attorneys for now say no, but if they somehow encouraged him to show up, that would be, I think that would be an interesting thing. I wonder if the judge would try and block it.
They have to be very careful with this because they already have an appeal they filed back in March of last year
Okay.
from the original charges. So there's already
Yeah.
an appeal going. So now they have to be very careful for any additional appeal motions and possible mistrial. So they're going to
Yeah.
watch Q's and Q's with this. Are they better? You know what I mean?
One would hope. One would hope.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Because the son is already appealing.
yeah. Well, and we talked about that kind of pre-show. The fact that they can drug a defendant and not have him complete the process, and like I said, there wasn't much to complete here.
Right.
He did it, but I understand the presumption and your defense and your rights.
Still need to be in
You
your
have
right mind to defend yourself and talk to your lawyer about what's going on while you're in trial.
Of course. Yeah. So as always, state gonna overreach, but so and then there were a bunch more that were dismissed. Some say they had prepaid trips or work vacations. That's a good way to get out of jury duty. Just book a trip real quick and then not legal advice. Not legal advice.
No, y'all don't do that. We didn't say that.
I didn't say that.
Just think it.
So what's up, Cheesy? I don't know. Like they went into incredible detail about some of these jurors, but I guess
Some of
they're
the
just finding,
questions. Did you see that in some of the answers?
yeah, some of that stuff,
Mhm.
and like
Yeah.
there's an engineer, an oncologist, a chef, a city worker. Most of them, like it seems like a lot of personal information.
Right.
So
And some of their thoughts on the gun stuff I saw.
yeah, yep. Some thoughts on the gun stuff. There was some thoughts on, like, one juror told the judge it would be difficult to be fair with police testimony because he would take what police say on the stand as fact. Well, don't do that, ladies and gentlemen. Cops lie. Trust me. Trust me. But yeah, again, scanning through. So one teacher, this one's the one that really pissed me off, and I believe that she was dismissed, but 3:04 p.m. One teacher who the judge said looked emotional. She said she had stage fright and watches the news, but thinks she can be impartial. If you're a teacher that's emotional during jury selection, I don't think you're fit to serve on a jury. Just given the subject matter, given what happened, I don't think that you're an appropriate person for the jury. That could just be me, but that's just my thought. So, it also says she said she votes Democrat. So, and the judge said that wasn't the question, and the courtroom erupted in laughter. She was asked if her children threw a ball through a neighbor's window, would she be responsible? And she answered no. So maybe she is. Maybe I'm not giving her enough due. Do you have any major input on that one, or?
Not so much on the gun stuff, because
Yeah.
I was raised around people and family that were Democratic, and we were gun people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I think it's it's your belief, no matter.
Yeah. So let's see. 308. The jurors will be paid $15 a day. The teacher said she would not be able to afford to serve. She just started a new job. That sucks. That's crazy. Like, here, take a month off work and we're gonna pay you $15 a day. Seems
If
kinda
that.
nuts. Yeah.
Something's $8.
Yeah. 310 juror asked if it's the first time the parents have been charged, if Crumbley is found not guilty, does that send a message? The judge says that it does, and that the message would be sent that the prosecutors did not prove their case. So again, just taking the thing as a whole, like, I see some bias there. The prosecutor, I mean, realistically, that's what you're there at court to do, but from from somebody who's not as well versed as somebody like, let's take Ozzy. Like, Ozzy might read that completely differently, but me reading that says, yeah, I've already predetermined this, and like, I'm just waiting on for them to do their job. So, I don't know.
Right. They have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, plain and
Yeah.
simple.
Yep. Uh, Prosecutor Karen McDonald and defense are now asking questions for the first 17 at 4. They're getting closer to seating a jury. It says in here the 17 in the jury box may be the final jury after 4 were excused and replaced. All 17 say they can be fair. However, then we go up further and they're talking about how they haven't even got to the questions yet, just the initial and kind of the seating stuff. So, McDonald has more questions for potential jurors tomorrow. The defense attorney has not yet asked questions. So the defense hasn't even asked or used any strikes or anything. No jury has been seated yet, expected to continue into Wednesday, and we know for sure that it will. And the jurors are asked to return at 9 a.m. on Wednesday. I don't know how far we'll get tomorrow, said the judge, who added the mistrial would be devastating. They are optimistic. See, this has to be a misquote. They are optimistic that they could have the jury by the end of Tuesday. Well, that's today.
Are they talking about next Tuesday? What's the date on your
That's
article?
it's current, so it's 4:43 p.m. today.
So they're thinking next Tuesday.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Because they started at 11 today. They got 300 people to go through, and they've maybe got not even a third, it sounds like, that they
Yeah.
went through questions.
Yeah. It's unknown when the trial will start, but once it starts, things are expected to move quickly. The jury box contains 8 men and 9 women at this point. But if the defense hasn't even got up, it doesn't bode well that those are going to be the end of the line. So yeah, so that's where we're at so far. Again, no one has officially been seated. The defense hasn't even got up to ask questions yet. And we're just waiting. I mean, it's gonna take time. It doesn't seem like they're in a lot of hurry. I mean, if you don't get started until after 11, and then immediately go on lunch, in my opinion, it just seems like you're probably not uh you're probably not in a huge rush to get anything done. So I wouldn't, just based on me, and who knows, they could come in tomorrow, get it seated, and be ready to go on what, Thursday?
Yeah,
But
and some of our issue this morning could have been that bad news that the mom got about 9:30 this morning about the son waiving any privilege or confidentiality, which
yeah.
means he doesn't want any of his medical records used in her trial.
Mhm.
And they're trying to order the judge to at least be able to bring his psychologist in. And they're fighting against that right now, too, because she's saying that she's not going to get a fair trial without their testimony or her son's testimony.
And I mean, I can see that. I mean, he is the subject of it. You would think that if charges like this were going to be brought, that it would be open book to the actual event. It would be the actual things that went into the murder itself, or that kind of thing.
Right.
You would almost have to open book it, because if not, you have no
Defense.
independent knowledge or no defense or no anything about what's going on.
Yeah.
So, how you can exclude, and I get get the medical portion of it, and I get all that, but how you can exclude large portions of testimony and large portions of this and that on privilege that doesn't want to be waived. I think that's one of the perils of prosecuting something like this is you have basically a third party that can waive the rights of the first. So I I don't
It'd
know.
be interesting.
Yeah. There's gonna be a lot here. Lot here. So I think this one's gonna be a fun one to watch, and we'll certainly be covering it. Uh we will find a way. That might be tough too, but we'll make it work,
We'll
even if
see.
we gotta dance. So we'll figure it out. Um yes. Christine, I will be. Yes. I'll be streaming it all here once it begins, whenever that is. So yeah. So that's like I said, I kind of wanted to get on here, do just a brief catch up with what happened today, and kind of officially say, yep, I'm gonna cover it in full because I mean we know me. So uh but yeah, I'll be here to take a look at all of it and watch it with y'all. So it's highly likely that I will do much of the same tomorrow, about a half an hour, 45-minute show, just updating what's going on and what's happening there, and see if we can get a jury tomorrow and maybe start on Thursday. So
Fingers
yeah.
and watch the
That is
courts and see what motions are coming in.
yeah, for
'Cause you can
sure.
see them left and right now.
Yeah. Um, so I'll keep an eye on the courts, and I'll keep an eye on it, and we'll see where we end up. Want to thank Queen for joining me this evening.
Well,
I
thanks for
appreciate it.
the invite. It was fun.
Yeah, and I also understand that I'm well aware and also watching the New Hampshire primary. Once we get some results in for that, I will certainly go live with those results. I don't know when we're expecting results. Probably another hour, 2 hour. Well, let's see. Yeah, probably another hour. Just reading real quick, but I would assume probably another hour, 2 hours before the night show. I will certainly come on and give some kind of indication of what's going on there. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, have a great night, and I will talk to you all very soon.
Good night,
Take
y'all.
care, everybody.